Uh, Events like this give us confidence who have been in the startup ecosystem since last 5-7 years that is just the start. We are yet to peel the onion and we are trying to find the onion. That is how it is. The topic here is a little more closer to me because I head analytics and been with analytics since last 13 years. Metrics have been something which I am very obsessed with. I love to look at data. Data driven decision making is something which I enjoy. Marketing analytics is something which I have had a chance to work with at Swiggy, now with DUNZO, and hence I kind of worked with the head of growth at DUNZO, Vivek Jain, just prepared a couple of slides, try to bring a perspective of how things work. This might be good for all the young entrepreneurs who are looking at it because everyone invests into marketing. What I'll try to cover is how has the landscape changed, how are metrics changing over time, what you should be looking at, and also a lot of companies are investing into SaaS-based solutions. Some of these learnings might be helpful for them as well, that what should they focus on, how can they look at few things, and what should they not look at also some of the aspects. Next slide. Okay, I don't know whether the font is that clear. I think this, everyone might have seen this. It is a very common saying, if you can't measure it, you can't improve it. This is the crux. At times when we invest into a lot of things, many a times we don't have the right KPIs. We feel that, okay, we'll look at the KPIs later, let's start investing, let's start the campaign, let's start kind of doing one thing or the other. But when it comes to the measurement, that's where the game changes. Sometimes we have to take proxies, sometimes our experiments are not done right, and many a times we take a call on gut, which is not data driven, and then we try to scale it up. The confidence is low, and we are always into this iffy situation that should we scale it up, should we not scale this up. A lot of people who have worked in e-commerce where the data is so thin, when the data is not robust, we don't have the right instrumentation, may relate to this, wherein we say let's attribute it and let's take a call based on say directional. That word of directional comes into picture, saying that okay, statistically significant nahi hai, but directionally we are able to see this, let's move on. So these things are good when you are pretty young in a startup ecosystem, but these things don't really work when you scale up. These things are dangerous. You need to really have a strong KPI network. You really need to have the right metrics and KPI to measure the performance of marketing, to measure whatever you are investing into. Without that, it's just a fuss. Next slide. Largely, I have seen marketing metrics across these three domains, and I'll just take a brief just to explain, and I think a lot of you might have already known about it. We invest a lot into performance marketing. This is where the real money goes in. There are a lot of companies who help with performance marketing. We have a lot of companies who provide SaaS solutions to track performance marketing. And I'll come to the details of what metrics and KPIs are part of performance marketing and how is it different from the other two. Then comes brand or brand marketing. Brand marketing is in itself an arm wherein you try to understand how my brand is doing, what is my brand recall, is my brand better than the other brand, how can I improve my brand loyalty, how can I probably have more people look at my brand versus others. And all of the work, just previous slide, sorry, is done by the team which does branding or brand marketing. And then third, this is relatively new. Earlier this was not there, at least in last, if I look at 5 years, this was not existent in last 3 years, which is partnerships. Now what is partnership? I won't relate it to ONDC, the morning session, but this is something similar wherein there is a company who is very good in payments and there is an e-commerce company like a DUNZO, and these two partner, saying that okay, whatever traffic I'll get, I'll run some discount campaigns on that. Through my payment gateway, if you are able to promote, it's a win-win for both of us. Because I don't have to acquire a consumer, I don't have to invest into that. You have already a consumer, why don't you promote my payment gateways to kind of help with that. Then you have partnerships with respect to say an Amazon voucher or anything with respect to that. So all of that, which is a new arm, which is we work with partnership for a lot of D2C brands, at least in DUNZO, wherein we promote the D2C brands on our channel, and they get the traffic, we get the discounted price, the consumers are happy, we are able to pass it on all to the consumer, and it's again a win-win situation. So these three functions largely is where we kind of work with. Next slide. This is the crux, and sorry for a little text heavy slide, but I'll quickly take some time to explain what does this mean. When we say performance marketing, it is short term. Performance marketing is not for a long term, because every time you have to do performance marketing, you have to invest. It is for short term growth. It has to do wherein you run your Facebook, Insta, Google ads. These ads are 10 to 15 seconds, you see it, you click it. Metrics like acquisition, CTR, reactivation, resurrections are all what are part of performance marketing. A lot of growth happens through performance marketing. If the company has to scale, if the company has to grow, all of that is done through performance marketing. The first thing which everyone looks at is how much is your perf spends. Am I investing into the right channels? Can I kind of look at all these metrics? Understand how can I win market share is important when we look at performance marketing. Brand marketing is wherein you have your digital mediums, OTT platforms. The ads are longer. You have your ATL, BTL marketing, print media, because that's how you create your brand. This is long term. Brand marketing, when someone invests into it, they don't invest for a month. You can't create a brand in a month. You really need to keep working with it. You really need to invest into it. The campaigns run for multiple months, and then you get the goodness. The metrics here are not directly coming from the company's data, but then you have reports like Brand Track, you have SimilarWeb, Data.ai, AppGenie. All of these companies provide numbers and metrics with respect to how your brand is doing, what is the top of the mind recall, am I able to pass on the right message, how's my app ratings. All of this is important for a brand marketing personnel. Partnership, like I said, this is win-win. This is you scratch my back, I scratch yours, sort of a thing, wherein the focus is to reduce burn. The focus is to optimize the burn. You don't really have to invest a lot into putting every money, every dollar, and you can kind of share the cost. So that's a bit about partnership, wherein you look at how much organic traffic have I able to get. Is my traffic coming from the right platforms? I was doing a study wherein it was interesting, wherein we were investing into TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. You won't believe it, people from Instagram had higher order values versus TikTok, because TikTok was largely popular in tier 2, 3 towns, versus Instagram was largely tier 1 phenomena. And the channels, when we were investing, we thought that, okay, when we have to kind of get the right consumers, we really need to shut investments into TikTok, because that's not really giving us the right consumer base. So people who use Instagram were kind of better. We were able to scale it faster. But yeah, something of that sort really helps us to understand from where we are getting the consumers and how we can kind of look at it. So this was past. This has been going on since the era when Swiggy, Flipkart, Big Billion Days, Swiggy's uncle, that Gulab Jamun Uncle ji came, wherein free delivery for everyone, IPL Bonanza happened. There were this newspaper flurrying ads which used to come, huge discounts. All of this used to happen, wherein we used to invest a lot. The brands used to invest a lot. Things have changed. Things have evolved. And that's also important for all the budding entrepreneurs to know that just investment into growth is not enough now. You really need to look at it holistically. Just go to the next slide. So the focus is not only on growth, the focus is on sustainable growth. You really need to have an engine which can work on its own. You really need to invest into areas which give you the right ROI. Metrics have not only been growth focused. If you are able to acquire consumer but they are not able to retain, it's not a good campaign. People look at those consumers who are able to provide the right order value. They are retaining on the platform, because the investments now are hitting the P&L, and the metrics are important to make sure that, okay, we have sustainable growth, so that we don't have to keep investing into the same users again and again. Once the user is acquired, it's the right set of user, we are able to pass on the right offering to the consumer automatically retains. Some of this we kind of talk about customer experience, some of this we talk about the right offering. It all comes down to how you are kind of investing so that you are able to get growth, but you don't have to invest into the same consumer acquiring again and again and again. And the next slide talks about how the metrics have evolved. Just click on the next one. Cool. So look at the column on the right side. ROI, ROAS, I don't know, not a lot of companies use this, but I think over time they have started. Lifetime value of a consumer has become a key important metric. We look at, if I invest something into the consumer today, how much we are able to generate from that consumer in 6-8 months to a year, and that becomes important. Return on ad spends is another metric, and this is where a lot of startups are investing so that we are able to attribute the right consumers, saying that okay, this consumer came because of my marketing, and this consumer came because of organically, or this consumer came because of a referral, this consumer came because of XYZ reasons. Earlier these kind of attribution models did not exist. It was again, you were trying to scratch it, try to get some answers, but today, thanks to a lot of evolvement in the way in which the data is structured, the data is captured, we are able to get a lot of these answers, and it really helps us to understand how best to optimize our campaign, how best to look at the data, how best to look at how where to invest, and the burns have started coming down as well. You might have seen a lot of companies investing into these platforms from the word go. They really want to look at all the metrics, unlike what it was maybe 5 years down the line. So I think that's largely, I just have one more slide after this and I'll open to Q&A. Can we click to the next one? I think this is something when I was kind of searching about what all to talk, this quote came up and I kind of felt that it's important for all of you to also have a look at it. Good marketing makes the company look smart, but great marketing makes the consumer smart. So when the consumer feels that, yeah, I have kind of got what I want, and the consumer feels that, yeah, I am smarter. The consumer is the king is what we all know, but if you kind of are able to make the consumer feel smart, I think you have kind of the battle is won. Because the consumer at the end of the day will make a repeat behavior, the consumer will again come back, the consumer will again talk to 10 other people saying that, okay, yeah, I was able to extract the best out of this company, this campaign, and it's where the juice lies, because you can optimize everything from a company first standpoint, but if you are able to pass on that message to the consumer saying that, yeah, you have also got what you wanted, and also you are able to make the best ROI, the consumer automatically then refers your company, your product to 10 different company, 10 different people, and the battle is won. So that's in a nutshell what I wanted to talk about, how we are looking at it. One important element which I also wanted to share with all of you is, though metrics are important, data is even more important. I was talking to a company and I shared this example with a couple of colleagues here as well, to a entrepreneur who had a SaaS based solution saying that we can get you insights like ChatGPT. You ask that what is the growth for last 3 months and the answer will come up. The problem there was that he is not really solving the right problem. Our problem today is data. Our variables are not in sync, our data is not that robust, it's a little loosely stitched, and it's a little ad hoc-ish in nature as well, because there is so much movement happening on that field that your variables keep changing, your schemas keep changing, new variables keep coming up. To keep a pace with that, you really need to have a strong data pipeline, a strong backend architecture, and on top of that you can apply all of these sexy SaaS softwares, because unless you have that, then you will kind of have garbage in, garbage out kind of answer. So if anyone is working on a field in say BI based SaaS softwares, always ask that, okay, how's your data? That's a very important thing. Most of the time startups though have a lot of data, their data is a little fragmented, it is not stitched well, there is no fact tables available, sometimes the metrics are not worded correctly and kind of creates chaos. So that's a bit about what is important as well from a metric standpoint. Data comes first, then comes metric. So just keep that also in mind. That's largely what I wanted to share.